like half the time I would just be arguing about some like S9 topic, and then the other half I'm just trying to host like a talk show with me and myself. And so then I started well no, I would say I started hearing voices, but I know that's not gonna, we're not going there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody from all over. My name is Burwick, the lovely singular. Well, not singular. Well, I think I'm sometimes singular. No, honestly, most of the times, if not all, I've always kind of done this podcast with at least two people, so myself and someone else. And today I'm joined by EonofAeon. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, not doing too bad. Kind of late night for me, but I prefer it that way.
Really? Why so?
I have two sleeping disorders, so I tend to be more awake and active at night, but unfortunately, most jobs tend to be daytime, so I'm perpetually groggy.
Oh, shit, really? Damn. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You what? How did that come about? The disorders thing. Like, were you just like diagnosed with it from a young age, or? or-
So to be clear, I've never been officially diagnosed, but my doctors agreed with it. I was just never able to get a sleep study done. But basically, I have ADHD and I have OCD, and in my youth, I was given, I believe it was Ritalin for about 2 years.
Oh my
And by the
God,
time I hit
Ritalin.
third grade, yeah. And by the time I hit third grade, I had insomnia diagnosed. That was fun. Um, from there, I spent about 5 years with that. And over time, it changed to where I have, as far as I can tell, elements of both DSPS and non 24.
Huh. I have no idea what either of those two things are. I'm not gonna lie, but the one thing I did catch on was the mention of Ritalin. And this is actually
Yeah.
pretty funny. You're the first guest to mention Ritalin on this podcast, so great job. No, but seriously,
Yeah.
no, but the reason why that's such a interesting point is because I used to be on Ritalin. Unironically, I used to be on Ritalin
Oof.
for, yeah, because of distraction issues like ADHD and the
I'm
like.
I'm sorry.
Nah, I mean, I took it when I was a kid, so like, I guess the
Same.
effects were not like non-negotiable, like kind of negotiable. I could just ignore it. But the thing that really fucked with me though, I do remember clearly, and I think you'll probably agree on this too, is that at some point in the day you'll get like a mildly splitting headache. Like you'll lock in for whatever it is you're doing, and then at the end of it all, when there's nothing else to do, you'll either get like a tsunami of just shit flung into your head, or you're just gonna go, ow, what the fuck did this migraine come from? And you're gonna feel really tired for the rest of the day.
Weirdly enough, no, I don't recall ever having headaches or migraines from it. But I do remember that I'd be laying in bed and I just could not fall asleep. So, like from third to eighth grade,
Yeah.
straight up, I'd lay in bed at 11 and I'd still be awake at 3 a.m. And I was like a third grader and a fifth grader. And so, like,
Yeah.
not a lot of sleep for me. And I was perpetually sleeping in the first three periods of every school year, um, which was fun.
Oh, that's, yeah, that definitely will have no academic consequences going forward.
Well, hilariously enough, I'm also one of 10 million people in the US, number not certified, who were not even diagnosed, branded, gifted at a young age, and then burned out by the time I hit high school. Um, so I kind of coasted on my intelligence, and I wish I had been more studious. I had a writing disability though, so I couldn't write very well, and homework is like 70% of American high school's grade.
Right,
So it was just rough for me.
right.
So I ended up kind of coasting by, but I'd ace every state test, ace every quiz, I'd spend half of every class reading because I'd finish the tests before any other kids. So like the sleeping didn't hurt me as much as you might think,
Right. But
which was lucky for me.
but but
But my grades were terrible.
there you
And my
go.
only opportunity to progress would have been to nail an SAT score, which when I was in high school was actually three different scores. It has since gone back to two. And my practice was actually Ivy League level number, is what I was told. But unfortunately, family financials, I couldn't pay for the test. So
that's
life took
unlucky.
me in a different path. But I've met good friends from it, so life is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, life is it's a very weird place. Also, just real quick so I can bring it up. See,
Yeah,
people, that's why you don't rely on your smarts for everything. You'll still get your ass kicked. You know, you'll still get your ass kicked. So do your studies. All right. If you're thinking about not going to school, okay, as lame as it sounds, too bad. Go to school, study. You're gonna regret it later. It doesn't matter. Just study. It's fine.
absolutely. And also, if you can get any side pocket money of some kind, save it for your own things, for your own tests and stuff, because the family financials were rough for that for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just good practice to just in general to like save and just always have some money in the side for emergency purposes, right? Like there's always this I mean any person with decent financial management, they'll all tell you that, oh, I always have a backup emergency fund. Like for myself, I have a backup emergency fund. I never touch it. So that's why when people ask me like, oh, don't you have, didn't you say, or didn't you mention like what that one time that you had like this amount of money in your emergency fund? Why don't you touch it for like this particular streaming thing? I told them no, it's an emergency fund. Like if I get really fucked up, from some, I don't know, something. I'm not gonna curse myself here, but something. At least I can comfortably go. Okay, this is gonna take a dent, but at least it's a dent. I'm okay. It's like money I'm okay to lose because it's meant for this purpose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was a kid back then, and I was very much a coddled kid.
Right.
I was labeled a miracle baby when I was born. Uh,
Oh, I see. Okay.
because yeah, no, I was born with both of my arms out of my sockets. Within a couple, I was told hours, and then my mom thinks it might have been a couple days of the birth. My heart rate skyrocketed to such a level that they like ripped me out of her arms, and then I spent the first year in and out of hospitals every month. And
Jeez.
growing up, I was like a perpetually sick kid. So like I've lived on the internet longer than most people have been alive who are on the internet as like native internet people nowadays, because I've been living on it for like over almost 25 years. Because like when you're stuck at home a third of every school year minimum,
Yeah.
just stuck in bed, you're like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna do now? Guess I'll go on. Ooh, Red Alert 2, woo! So like that was my childhood, was just Red Alert 2, and then it was Warcraft 3, and then it was EverQuest, and then it was WoW, and then it was Guild Wars, and then all sorts of War Rock and Fly FF and Silk Road Online. Like I'm naming games that there's probably millennials in this viewership who are gonna be like, I know that game. Yes, I'm old. Hello. Um, but like when you spend that much time sick, it hurts your studies, number one, obviously, in addition to all the other stuff I mentioned.
Right.
But it also gives you a different kind of, I hate to say cultural appreciation, but like I use and view the internet very differently to what a lot of other people do. And I'm
Hmm.
very cognizant of the fact that I am lucky to have turned out the way I did, because with my family home situation as it was, and my family situation as it was, and my school situation as it was, with how much time I spent online and how coddled I was from a lot of the realities of being not just a kid, but then an adult that I had to
Right.
learn on my own when I had to move, because that's how life be sometimes, I
Right.
realized that, oh, I could have been a complete asshole. Like I've met so many people who tell me that they were like born, they like grew up on the internet, they were raised by the internet, and I'm like, me too. And then I'm like, oh, you mean like that? No, I'm not. I'm not like that. I have some some level of like moral respect for myself and people. I have empathy. I'm not like that. And I realized as I got older, I was like, I was lucky I didn't become some kind of little internet troll, griefing, toxic sludge of a human being. Like I try to treat people decently as best I can, where I
Right.
can, when I can. And it's one of
Interesting.
those like self-reflection things that as you get older, you're like, oh, I was lucky to come out the way I did from my path in life. But I'm also thankful for it because it's given me this perspective that is beneficial to others if it is something that they would like to hear.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, at least with regards to the, oh, I'm glad I turned out this way thing, I can sort of relate. Because I
Oh,
mean,
really?
a little bit here and there. I've not to get too much personal details. I've had a very weird childhood. Um, and I think that there was definitely a lot of there was definitely quite a number of bad actors in my life then, and even progressing up until the points when I was like 16, 17. Um, so I'm quite thankful that I either by circumstance or by chance, I didn't take up said people on their offers, or I didn't get lured, or I just kind of brought to those like seedy areas and seedy subjects like when I was young. Because like really thinking about it, thinking back on it, there were legitimately so many people who were who were like probably in a different context out to just easily manipulate me. But I'm not sure what it was. It's just always conveniently just some person or some circumstance, right, that just prevents that from happening, or just intervenes like before it can get worse. I think like the biggest example I have on this, and I'm not afraid to talk about it, is oh my god, sorry, my throat's killing me. Holy shit. Give me a second.
Chug some water. Hydrate, you thirsty bitch.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Reminder
I'm
for the
chugging
viewers at
water.
home. Reminder for the viewers at home. Please remember to hydrate regularly.
Yeah, don't don't forget it, chat. Fuck. Holy shit. I I sound akin to one of those guys that just finished smoking a big pack. It's like they cough out smoke from there.
Oh my god, guys, holy shit, I just smoked a pack. Let's go.
Yeah, so pretty much how do I explain this? I think I think that there was definitely a lot of times where if I had said something differently, or if I wasn't raised well enough by my parents to have those really, like, at least what I think are strong personal values, it would have been completely different. I think I would be a lot more fucked up as a person, even more than I am now. And
I mean, listen, nobody's
yeah,
perfect. Everyone's a little fucked up,
yeah, I
So I
mean,
think it's
yeah,
important to recognize that. Like, be
yeah,
thankful. Like, no family's perfect,
yeah,
but thank you for teaching me what you did teach me that I find value
yeah.
in like holding on to.
Yeah, of course, of course. Like that is the most important thing. It's just it's the idea of like being grateful. Like I recently put up one of those YouTube videos on my channel after not uploading for about, I think, close to a year. It was basically just like a deep dive self-reflection thing on why I felt the way that I felt, which is not good, or I just felt very demotivated, felt very all the negative shit. Then I sit down and think about it, and I thought, well, actually, I think this is just me not learning to appreciate much, and kind of just finding like a way or means to just constantly complain and just like make the situation out worse than it has to be, because that's the easiest thing to do. Is the easiest thing to do is just go and complain and go like, oh man, this fucking situation sucks, like, oh, I can't do anything about this. No, actually you can. You'd be surprised of what you can do once you sit down and just think about it, instead of like succumbing to all that noise that other people can sometimes accidentally spread to you just by word of mouth, or just by seeing on your friend's Instagram story. It's like, oh, it's so gojo over. I'm so fucking cooked. I'm chopped, gang. Like, I'm doom scrolling, doom posting. So many negative things. Yeah.
Patience is definitely a virtue in that regard. Being able to go, like, even when you're panicking, I would agree with you. I 100% agree with you. I think the ability, and it's something we have to learn, right? Like, it's hard to teach that. The ability, and it comes from pain and experience and just living life, is the ability to just go, I know shit sucks, but let's take a minute, step back, and let's look at the situation. Let's problem solve it one step at a time.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
there's so many
exactly.
things in life that you could get better outcomes from if you just did that, and people don't.
Yeah, because I mean, I think with okay, maybe it's just me, but I feel like with this advent of like social media and everything like that, and just give any amount of context here, social media is a pretty big thing on this podcast. Like I bring it up at least once or twice or thrice, either by myself or the guests, because I mean we're all content creators, so it's kind of an inevitable talking point. But I feel that especially with this advent of social media, people find it quite hard to say the words "I fucked up" actually, like in a genuine, honest to God context, and not for the ass kissing social framing context.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I remember it used to be a lot more common. I'm not gonna say it was common, but it
Right.
was more common.
Right. Right.
Back in the days of like Twitch being an ending on the URL of Justin TV, back in the early days of YouTube, like I messed up, guys. Like I remember when I think was it Jenna Marbles, I think, made a video apologizing. It was like a genuine apology video, but now so many people like rag on YouTubers and VTubers and content creators for apology videos that are like nothing burgers or twitlongers that don't really do much, or Google Docs that don't really do much. And like sometimes it helps to just go, I fucked up. Listen, here are the reasons why I fucked up. Here's why I said it or I did it. But at the end of the day, I fucked up and I'm sorry. But like actually make it seem like you're taking responsibility, not passing blame, which I think is a balancing act a lot of people nowadays have, especially content creators, have lost.
I see. That's okay. That's yeah. I guess that's fair. Like especially coming from like the VTuber side of things, right? I think broken record, but you'll see it all over Twitter. I don't even need to like go into depth, and anybody who listens or watches would get it immediately. You just go on the Twitter. That's all I need to say. You'll find at least 1 or 2 docs, and it's just bleh, bleh. I don't want to see that anymore.
Yeah, trust me, I'm aware. I'm keyed into that scene. Trust me, I'm aware. Whoa.
I mean, if you've been around since like 2010, you know, with Twitch stuff, right? Because even back when it's called Justin.tv, it don't for sure. Like
it used to be, like most people don't even know. There are so many people who are like full-time creators now who don't even know or don't remember that it used to be, it wasn't twitch.tv. It was justin.tv/twitch/ your name. Like, I'm old.
I'm old. Hey, I don't discriminate. All right. I know I have quite a number of friends who are like, I would say quite a number of years older than me.
I'm only 31, but I feel it in my bones.
Hey, it's okay. The way I put it is this. Okay, you know, technically you can still argue that you're just starting out. You can still argue to people that you're still starting out. Okay, as long as, I mean, yeah, at any point in life you can just say you're starting out. All right. There's no shame. There's no shame. Trust. There's
no shame, but I don't think I could say I'm just starting out. I can say, hey, I'm getting back into it. I don't think I can say I'm starting out. I've been around too long. Mostly in the background, but I've been here a while. But there's no shame in starting over. Like, listen, there's people who go to college in their 60s and get degrees and start careers. Like, there's people who don't start acting until their 40s or their 50s or their 60s, and then they're beloved actors. Like, there's no shame in keeping to a passion or a hobby or a job or an interest or returning to something after time away. Like, anyone who gets shame from that, I'm sorry you feel that way, but like genuinely you shouldn't. You're doing something, you're putting yourself out there, you're being creative. Like, fuck what other people think. Focus on you. How can you do it better? What do you want to do? Great. Do you want to make it a job? Work for it like a job. Do you want to make it a hobby, a passion, a side project? Do it like that. Just don't. We ain't got time in this life for shame. Like, there's things to be ashamed of. Not many, but there are some. But like, striving to do something you enjoy is almost never one of them, especially if it doesn't hurt, harm, or force anything upon another person. Like, I just, I'm 31. I ain't got time to be ashamed of doing what I like and what I love.
Right, because I mean, we all only have like so much time on this like planet to do whatever it is, right? Whether it's to make change, whether it's just enjoy life as it is, or maybe it's just to barely get by. I mean, like we're all just trying to live in different aspects and capacities. Right.
Facts.
So like, what's the point, you know, to just worry so much? Oh God, if I do this, what if so and so doesn't like me for it? It's like, okay, well, if they don't like you for it, so be it. I mean, who fucking cares? There's like at least a few million billion other people out there.
Trust me, I'm a worrying Ellie myself, but you know, maybe if I say it often enough, my own stupid ass will start believing it a bit. But like, it's an important mantra. It's like sometimes even if you don't fully commit to it or believe in it, just saying it and earnestly saying and trying to strive for it is a good thing to do. That was a lesson I actually learned recently. There's a guy I was talking to. I think he was like a local like bus driver I was talking to.
Right.
And he told me, don't ever say try, because that means you're giving the power to other people or other things to prevent your success. Say you're striving for it. So that way, even if you don't immediately succeed, or even if it doesn't always immediately work out, your efforts are easier to frame in a positive way, so it doesn't feel like failure. You're striving for something.
Right.
If you didn't get it that time, you're still working on it. You're striving for it.
Right.
Just don't call it try. And I liked that. I was like, I'm stealing that. Right. So I've been trying to adopt that mindset for a lot of what I say and how I say it. I'm not trying for something. I'm striving for it because it tries to frame it in a positive way.
Okay. That's good. That's actually a really nice phrase. Yeah, yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, it puts a very.
Why do you think I stole it?
No, I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not. Yeah, sure. That's completely fine. I mean, I was just about to say that's a very nice it's a very nice way of like putting a positive spin on the word try. Because like try is try in itself, like I don't think is inherently positive or negative. It's kind of neutral. But if you put something like strive,
Yeah.
I would say it's definitely more positive. And I mean, yeah, like
precisely.
yeah, like exactly like what you said. Like the more times you tell yourself something, at some point you'll start believing it. It is the exact opposite. It's the exact same as people going like, "Oh, I'm never gonna make it." Yeah, of course, if you say you're never gonna make it, you're never gonna fucking make it. But it seems like, you know, it just sucks that a lot of people are very good at doing the latter instead of the former, which is, oh, I'm striving for this. You know, like I'm striving to be better. You know, I'm striving to lock the fucking twin. This is your year. I don't give a shit if it's August and you have like 4 months left. It's still your year. Even if it's next year, it's still your year. Slay.
In defense of those people,
yeah,
our brains are hardwired for negativity.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
mean
yeah.
that to be an excuse. Like, for those who don't know, our brains are hardwired to remember negative experiences and outcomes a lot more easily and more often than positive, because positive, you know, is fine. It's great, rewarding, but negative can get you killed. That's how our monkey lizard brains work. So, like, it's our job as self-aware people to try and, like, I don't want to say combat that. That's not the right word. Manage that, right?
Yeah.
Manage that, like, lizard brain part of your consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, yeah, I mean, like that's definitely like very, yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, you know, that's why as well, I think in a very nice way, we also need the company and social presence of other people to at least like combat that, or at the very least, right, like what a lot of people do, just make really fucked up dark humor jokes about it. I mean, hey, if you can't I mean, like if you can't beat it, then just laugh at it. I don't know. I mean,
gallows humor has existed for thousands of years for a reason, and it's
right?
not going anywhere.
Oh,
Like,
fucking course not. No, it's not. It will never go away. Yeah, it's just that sometimes it can just be a bit it can just be a bit too much in a poor taste. But then again, it's all perspective.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of things are perspective, especially when it comes to comedy and humor.
Mm-hmm.
Perspective and context are such immensely important elements, and it's why censorship or either self-censorship or, you know, external censorship is
Right.
such a very cautious road to travel,
Right.
because you never want to offend someone and you never want to hurt someone
Right.
intentionally.
Right.
But there should be some level of expectation of, like, hey, you are responsible for you, I am responsible for me. I will not do it intentionally or maliciously, but you are responsible for how you react to something.
Yeah.
And censorship should only ever be done in the sense of, like, hey, let's protect these people because they, for lack of a better word, need to be protected, like kids, right?
Yeah.
We censor things around kids because kids don't need to be taught or hear certain topics or
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely.
But as we grow into adults, there are certain topics and things that we should be able to handle. Very serious topics, very silly topics, dumb topics, smart topics, happy topics. And when
Right.
people can't handle them, I don't consider it a failing on their part. I don't think that's the right way to look at it. I think when people get overly sensory,
Yes.
it's a defensive thing, right? Like, this hurts me, this makes me uncomfortable, but people either weren't taught, weren't trained, or aren't used to confronting uncomfortableness to address it with compassion and logic. And so they censor it. Oh, this is a safe space, you can't talk about this here. Oh, that's illegal, you can't talk about this here. Oh, that's this, that's that. It makes it a thing that people can just box up and put away and not think about. And this is not me, like, trying to get any kind of politics or anything like that, because it happens on every end of the spectrum. Call it different terms, call it what you want.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, censorship of any kind, limitations, should only be done when protecting the weak, the young, the unable to handle it themselves, if they actually are just, like, you know, like the people who maybe are too young,
Right.
or they're too,
like they're too vulnerable, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's always a balancing act, like most things in life. Moderation is the key in so much in life.
Mm,
And sometimes we go a bit too much or we go a bit too little. And part of
mm,
life is learning how to balance that moderation.
mm, interesting. Okay. Okay. So then would it be I guess as like a follow-up for advice for future content creators and I guess just life advice in general, right? Like moderation is key. Like it is one of the most important things in life. Would you argue that it is second to like the most important thing in life or like second to none?
I I would argue it is one of the most important things. There is I have seen so many content creators burn out from doing constant subathons or marathons back when they were called that and they weren't called subathons or doing um
Yeah.
unhealthy things, right?
Yeah.
Diet, um, attitudes, all sorts of things. And some of them are currently still friends. Some of them are former friends who I'm no longer on good terms with, all sorts of things. And moderation could have helped so many of them to avoid a lot of their problems
Right.
with feeling burnout from a game or feeling hurt from a friend or
Right.
feeling ignored because they're constantly go 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 go. And
Right.
so many content creators are go 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 go. Oh, we're done. Next thing, go 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 go. And sometimes just taking a step back and going, hey, let's pace it out. Can make things last longer. Can make them maybe more enjoyable. Maybe you don't feel so blasé about things.
Mm-hmm.
Moderation and beyond content creation, your diet, your exercise, your life, there's so much that we as people need to learn to moderate,
Right.
and that should be our parent and family's job to teach us. And then there's some that you got to learn how to do yourself because you're gonna stumble, you're gonna fall, you're gonna hurt. Take the time to breathe, calm down, brush yourself off, get back up. Because at the end of the day, that is life, is learning when, where, and how to apply that. Okay, what's the next step? What's the next? Solve one problem at a time, one day at a time, one issue at a time. How do I apologize? How do I, make it up to someone? How do I move forward with my content? How do I this? And at the end of the day, I think moderation kind of ties into that is how do I X? How do I Y? Great, you solve that. What's next? And just taking it step by step, day by day.
Great. Great. Yeah. I mean, it definitely does. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely speak as well, again, from like personal experience. I'm just like about the whole burnout thing and then constantly trying to get myself to push things out there, even though either I know I'm going to take a while or it's just currently out of reach for me just because of circumstance. But I'm still dreaming of it. I'm still trying to reach it, still trying to touch the sky, if you will.
Yeah.
And it gets very easily you can easily just get super absorbed into it where it's just you just forget that you forget that you're someone with limitations, you forget.
Yeah. I mean, hyperfocusing is great. It can be so
Yeah,
useful,
yeah, but on
even
the
if you're
right thing.
not neurospicy, but like
Yeah.
manage it a little bit. Just like don't use it as an excuse to not take care of yourself emotionally, mentally, physically, you know,
mm, definitely,
moderation.
definitely, yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, so you you gave me a list of things to bring up on earlier, so I really appreciate that. I'm very curious about the voice impersonations thing. How far does that stretch?
I've been doing goofy voices and tried to do various imitations since I was young. I've been an on and off tabletop player since I was, God, 10. From playing Werewolf the Apocalypse as a kid with my older brother, he'd be the DM and it was just a one-man campaign, to playing with him and his friends in a D&D campaign, to kind of taking a break from it and just really absorbing myself in board games for a long time after that point, which
Yeah,
some of them could be fairly narrative focused, to circling back to like I've rejoined my brother's friend group, made amends with some of them. We've all kind of put stuff behind us, and I've been playing with them for a couple years now. And I think a lot of people who do tabletop wargaming, board games, tabletop especially D&D, Pathfinder, will
yeah,
tell you that some of the easiest ways to really get comfortable with acting as a young age, at a young age, or any age really, or voices or noises, is just play D&D, right? And for me, I grew up watching cartoons. I grew up playing video games, and I grew up talking a lot, either typing a lot or talking a lot. So I got very used to my voice. And so, like, I'm able to do various impersonations. So, like, growing up, me and a lot of my friends were very, very much into Dragon Ball Z Abridged. One of my closest friends, who has sadly passed away,
My
loved
condolences.
my Nappa voice. Thank you. And so, like, sometimes I would just hit him with a little Nappa. And, you know,
Yeah.
I also used to do Beavis and Butthead. And so, like, fire! Fire! I am Cornholio. Mini DP from my bunghole. You know, like, voices are a muscle, right? They're a practiced thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
And I've circled the internet hobbyist VA sphere for 20 years, 15, 20 years, but I never really felt myself worthy of getting into it.
Right.
Call it self-confidence issues, call it self-esteem issues. Maybe I didn't think I had the right tech. I didn't have this, I have that. And in recent years, I've kind of started going, dude, I'm 31.
Mm-hmm.
Half of voice acting is the voices, sure, but do you know what the other half is? What's in the name? Acting.
Right.
And that was the part that, like, I was always a bit skittish of, because I'd done some acting in school, specifically Shakespeare. Jesus Christ, Shakespeare. And I wasn't booed from it, but it was like very much like one of those like plays that like was not center stage, highly promoted. And I was always kind of the goofy clown in school and online. And as I got older, I kind of realized I like voice acting, but I've always been skittish of trying to get into it. But like, I think streaming, when I got back into it seriously in like 2017 to 2020, really kind of encouraged me to kind of explore that. And so, like, I've done, you know, I showcased Nappa there for you. I've done, you know, Beavis. You know, I can do the Halo announcer. I can kind of do the movie guy. I've done deep voices. I've done old man voices. It's just playing with your voice until you find the right sound. And it's literally just, it's that simple. And a lot of people get scared by it. And it's like acting. In that regard, it's like acting. You kind of just kind of got to lose yourself. And then you find the right voice. And from there, it's all fun.
That's okay. Okay. Immediate question: can you do a Venom voice line?
Was that very venomy? I didn't think it was.
No, I mean, like, can you can you do it like just off the rip, like a Venom voice line?
I can try.
The classic.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can give it a go. We are Venom.
Full body chills. Very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool that you like doing like voice acting stuff, because I've also kind of dabbled a bit, and honestly, I'm finding a lot of similarities to your stories and whatnot, because yeah, I also used to talk a lot. I like, well, okay, I'm making it sound as if like I don't talk anymore. I still do. Obviously that's why I have this podcast thing in general, right? Like who would host a podcast where they just don't talk? That'd be weird. It'd be an interesting concept. It'd be an interesting concept, but half the time it would just be,
I mean,
yeah, you know, so yeah, but yeah, for myself, I've been I've been like, yeah, I've been talking to people, like talking just in general for like many years, and I think weirdly enough, my so-called voice awakening stage was definitely during COVID, because I was like locked up in my room, right? Not literally, but you know, so there was a mirror. The mirror's always just been there. I mean, I've always like sometimes looked at it like every so often just to see like, oh, okay, oh, I'm still skinny. Oh wow, what a surprise. But the thing that changed, I'm not sure what it was that I just started arguing with myself. Now I know this sounds really weird, but
to anyone who has streamed for any length of time, that doesn't sound weird at all. We all talk to ourselves. You have to fill the space.
Yeah, but that was way before I wanted, but that was way before I wanted to do streaming. So I don't know where that came from. That was, yeah, so I just
in your head.
Yeah, literally yeah, like half the time I would just be arguing about some like S9 topic, and then the other half I'm just trying to host like a talk show with me and myself. And so then I started Well, no, I would say I started hearing voices, but I know that's not gonna, we're not going there. Instead, I started hearing voices from my computer because I was in a voice call with many different friends, and one of the things I started doing was just casually start streaming games as well, just on their like Discord screen share. And then I don't
Yeah.
know who said it, I don't know who suggested it, but they were like, oh, you should stream at some point. I was like, huh, I mean,
Why not?
why not?
Yeah.
You know, just give it a shot. Yeah. And then the voice impressions, they just came over time. Like, off the top of my head, like Venom was one of the first ones. Like I think I tried to figure out. The Yoda one is really old. I used to be able to.
HDMI.
Yeah. And then I used to be able to do Shaggy. Was it Shaggy or Scoob?
Like Zoinks, man.
Like
There's
Zoink
a ghost
Scoob.
over there.
Like Zoink Scoob. This guy's on another subathon. Robo Raggy.
It's not bad. Not bad.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah. So it just, yeah, it just, I mean, like like what you said earlier about being comfortable voice. Yeah. It literally just talking to yourself for such a long period of time. It sounds.
Yeah.
It sounds very self-absorbed. Without context, it sounds very self-absorbed, but you talk to yourself a lot. But
I've watched so many voice actors and actors too, especially, who talk about that. Like Jim Carrey, I remember one of his stand-ups or interviews, he said that he would spend hours in front of the mirror not only doing the voices,
yeah,
but he also was a great face impressionist. And like I'm like mutuals with a couple of VAs on Twitter, right? And
Yeah.
I've been mutuals in the past with a couple of others, and I've talked to some of them. I'm not going to name drop names here. It's not the purpose of what I'm saying that for. My point is that like I've circled the space, and I think the great thing about today now for streaming
Yeah.
in general is
Yeah.
that it is so easy to get started at a casual level with
definitely.
voice acting and voice sounds and streaming compared to 20 years ago.
Right.
The availability of the hardware, the resources and tools online, because there are people who have trudged, blazed a trail. There's Kira Buckland, who started off on Newgrounds and is now a major VA in her dream thing of Jolene, and she's in Skullgirls, and she's in I believe it's Street Fighter and Tekken both. I want to say at least one of them. She's in so many things, and anime. And then there's oh God, Matt Mercer, I think also kind of started
Matt
online.
Mercer, my God.
Everyone knows Matt.
Oh, of
Like,
course.
There's Ego Raptor. There's oh God, I'm blanking on the names. Like, there's just so many names on Newgrounds that have come and gone on YouTube that started there and they started online, and
Yeah.
they're full-time VAs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like part of the fun of the voices is that it is a tool that you always have available to you. Like, I was told that I didn't talk much as a baby. I didn't make a lot of sounds.
Yeah.
And then I hit 3 and, quote, according to my mother, quote, I never shut up. And like a lot of people hit me with, oh, I'm saying my real name. Haha, Eon talks a lot. He never shuts up. But like, I can tell you in the last 2 weeks, I've had multiple nights where me and 1 or 2 or 3 other friends, it's always the same friends,
Yeah.
I'm the most comfortable around. We'll say nothing for like 3 hours or 6 hours, but people don't believe me when I say that because I do talk so much. I can be a chatty Cathy, but I like my private time. And I think even the most introverted, outgoing person, or the most outgoing, introverted person, however you want to phrase that in your mind,
Yeah.
have those moments where they're like, I need to be around people, or hey, I need to be alone. And I think voice impersonations are just a really fun way to entertain yourself. And if it's something cool, you can entertain your friends.
That's interesting. Okay.
And then some people manage to make a career out of it. Because I think you've been on content creation for a little while, and so I'm sure you know this as well, is that I said it earlier, but there's a lot more than just voices or, hey, I can do a DBZ Napa. Okay, but can you act? Can you do that voice, make something original and make it still sound like the voice instead of copying it, and actually make it sound like there's emotion, right? And I think a lot of people don't practice the acting side of things as much.
Right.
And that's where I find that especially role play games are so great for that, because they force you to act that
They
stuff
force
out.
it again to it. Yeah, they force it again to it. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. 100%. Okay, that's really interesting. So, earlier, I picked up that you mentioned about how you like your quiet time a lot. Like 3 to 6 hours, silence, nothing. What goes through your head during those moments? Like, what's the thought process, if there's any thought at all? Like, I'm genuinely wondering because, either I would presume you're either being like deep thought, reflection, or something like that, but perhaps there's something more to it. I mean, please.
I'm either vegging out on YouTube, I'm deep diving on a wiki, either Wikipedia or a TV tropes page, or Wikipedia for my newest manga or book or something like that. Or maybe I'm focused on a solo game. As much as I love my multiplayer games, I love things like Surviving the Abyss. I used to play a lot of Stellaris single player back in the day. I do X4, and then sometimes there are the rare occasions where I'm not thinking a lot. But something I like to tell people is, as somebody who has ADHD, my brain is 1,000 miles a minute, right? And it's constantly jumping topics. And normally I'd be very forgetful because that tends to be a trend with it.
Yeah.
I'm considering myself lucky that for the most part, my OCD,
Yeah.
they kind of balance each other out so that most of their absolute negatives don't hit me as hard. The downside is that they can feedback off each other, but it also means I can carry on a lot of thoughts at once. So I'm usually thinking about a lot all the time.
Right.
And even when I'm quiet, I'm thinking about a lot. And I've found that the times where I have a quiet mind, as you asked,
Mm-hmm.
weirdly enough, do not happen often. And they've mostly been when I've been around partners, and not all of them have given me that kind of like peace of mind.
Oh.
And it is definitely something that, like, a lot of my friends ask me why I don't do drugs, why I don't like drink to get drunk. And I'm like, A, because that'd be way too expensive for me to drink. I'm very, very tolerant despite not drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And B, I just don't have an interest in really losing control like that.
Mm-hmm.
But my God, the first couple times I was with someone and I was just in their presence for like 6 hours and my brain shut off and I realized it after the fact, I was like, oh, that's addictive. That's not good. Like, I was like, now I understand. Like, if that's the kind of mental brain switch off that people say they experience with getting drunk or with doing a drug, then I'm like, oh, I understand it now. I don't get it or have any interest in getting it from those sources, but someone I love and trust, being around them and having their presence be that calming element for my brain is very appealing and very addictive.
Hmm.
So I've had those quiet moments that you asked about, but they tend to be when I'm around a partner. When I'm single,
Ah,
not so much. So my brain's always running. Either what I'm
interesting.
watching, what I'm playing, what I'm doing, what I'm reading.
Interesting.
I
That's
just don't always feel the need to talk.
okay. 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 And I mean, like as a someone who also has like ADHD, but I don't think it's. I think my case of ADHD isn't as extreme. Well, not extreme, but it's just not as strong anymore. I think it's probably because of either the drugs. Well, I mean, yeah, like the medicines I've taken when I was younger, Ritalin being one of them, kind of phasing it out, or just straight up just growing out of it, I suppose. How like, okay, how many trains of thought run the station in your head?
Anywhere from 2 to 4 at a time. I've had situations where I would be like, I'll give you an example.
Yeah,
I'd have situations where I'd be holding a conversation and thinking of answers to it on Twitch, like
yeah,
on my chat,
yeah,
while I'm playing Dead by Daylight.
yeah,
Or maybe so that's two. Or maybe
yeah,
there's two different conversations, so
yeah,
that's three.
yeah.
Or maybe there's two conversations in chat, there's the game going on, and then there's somebody in voice chat, that's four. Or maybe I'm reading a manga, but I'm also thinking, hey, could I use some of this for my my D&D campaign? Could I use some of this for my stories? Could I use some of this for that or this? So like it just kind of depends. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you mentioned that one thing actually. Um I after Ritalin, I never really had medicated treatments for myself.
Mm,
After that bad experience,
mm,
we sought a therapist for me. And while I would love to have one right now, unfortunately, mental health in the US is great.
mm.
So I've mostly subsisted off of training taught to a kid in his teens for how to handle ADHD and OCD things, right? And it's not perfect and it's far from foolproof and it's way out of date and it's some of it's self-taught. But I learned self behavioral tricks, I guess, for lack of a better word, to manage it. So, like, I say all these things about myself, but I don't want it to sound like it's controlling my life. That's been one of my biggest pet peeves is how many friends and family I have and know
Yeah.
who say, oh, I'm hyper focusing. You know how it is. And I'm like, yes, I get it. I have those moments, but you can make yourself do something else. Like if a friend or family member is like, hey, we haven't talked in weeks. Hey, we haven't played in weeks. We haven't met in weeks. Let's do a thing. I'm not going to turn around and go, no, my mind is hyper focusing on surviving the abyss. I cannot talk. Like, no, I can go, all right, now will I be a bit distracted? Sure. Once I get in the moment, I'll be fine. But I feel nowadays there's a lot of people, especially with how many people are getting diagnosed later in life as adults with
Yeah.
ADD and ADHD.
Yeah.
There's a tendency to almost kind of like relinquish control. Oh, that wasn't me. That was the squirrel brain. That wasn't my fault. I was hyper focusing. It's like, yes, that shit sucks.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you still got to go, that was me. And like, when it comes to those, I think a balance of medication, if necessary, and behavioral stuff is very important. And for me, the trains of thought are kind of always running, which I think kind of leads into that whole sleep disorder thing I told you about is probably part of it.
Right, because it's a non-stop train service.
Yeah. So like for context, just a real quick side view. DSPS is delayed sleep phase syndrome.
Oh,
basically means my body thinks day is night, night is day.
Oh,
non-24. Yeah, no, it's fun. Non-24 is stands for basically the body thinks there's more than 24 hours in a day. It's most commonly seen among people who are blind or legally blind. I have light sensitive eyes, so I have a feeling that's probably why I developed it.
I see.
So if I didn't have a job or a steady schedule, I would slowly just rotate around the clock every so many weeks or months.
Oh. Huh. That's interesting. Okay. I see. So
yeah,
for that N24 thing, like how many hours did you once perceive were in a day?
Well, it's not that you perceive there's more hours in a day. It's just your body doesn't feel tired at the same times every day. So like, I'll give you a good example. Okay, I tended to stay awake at night more reliably than others because of the DSPS. And so as a result, if I don't have a job, and I got to experience this again a year and a half ago when I was jobless, I might wake up at 12, noon, and I'd be awake until 6 a.m. or 10 a.m. Or maybe I'll go to sleep at 2 a.m. And so I always tell people I sleep for anywhere from like 8 to 12 hours, usually 10 to 12 hours a day.
Right.
And then I'd be awake for 16 to 20 or 16 to 22. Do the math. 16 plus 10 is 26. There's 2 more hours. So I'm rotating around 2 hours. But 22 plus 12 is 34. Now I'm jumping half the day.
Yeah, that's... Oh, wow. Okay.
But it's kind of like just an ebb and flow kind of deal. And some of that is 100% like I could just lay in bed.
Yeah, for sure.
That doesn't usually end well for me because I just kind of sit there, and then I get more awake and my brain's running and it's running and it's running. So it's fun.
Interesting. Okay. Damn. Well, thanks for telling. That's, So, wow. Okay, I'm gonna have to process this like after we're done recording because that's still gonna take a while to set in. But let me see here. Right.
Sleeping disorders are fun, kids. Do more drugs on your kids. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah,
for legal reasons, that's a joke.
I'm sure everyone here knows it's a joke, and if not, I'll be getting a nice little notification from YouTube later. So, because that space is lovely. Oh, speaking of YouTube, actually, how much has it changed from when you first like seen it? Because okay, for disclosure, I'm a YouTube kid. Like I was there when it started. I'm still there now, right? So I've grown up with like some of the oldest like YouTubers out there. I mean, at least to me, what I consider oldest was like Dan TDM. Off the top of my head, Pewds, obviously Pewds for sure, 100%.
Bro. I remember Smosh back when Smosh had their website at first.
And Smosh, yes.
I remember when Smosh was on DeviantArt before they uploaded to YouTube. Okay, so like I'm old. Over the years and decades of YouTube being on there, we used to have customizable profiles. Like if you knew HTML or CSS and things like, or not CSS, HTML. Yeah, it was CSS. Maybe JavaScript. Maybe if you knew various kinds of website markdown, you could customize things like your MySpace, your LiveJournal, your Gaia Online, your YouTube channel, your DeviantArt to an extent. These were things that you could customize. The websites would go, hey, if you know how to set it up, you can get yourself a custom art background. You can customize the text on your page. You can, so that was a really fun way for people to personalize and express themselves. And I remember those days back when it was the little black and gray dot over a gray play bar with the red line and the gray underbar. And
Oh
I
my
remember those
god.
blocky. Yeah, I remember those blocky
Oh,
days. I
wow.
remember when your profile page used to have your picture in the top left with all of your information scrolling on the left. And then you'd have a primary video that you could pin at the top. And then a whole bunch of other info boxes you could have down there. Very Steam-esque in a sense. The chasing of algorithms, I think, ultimately has been a net hurt to YouTube.
Yeah.
Creators have adapted, but there's definitely some struggle and some hurt there in the sense that, like, you do get, I don't want to say penalized, but, like, overlooked by the system if you don't do the wacky thumbnails or the goofy thumbnails, if you don't do the clickbait titles. And it's definitely a change from the 2010s and the mid to late 2010s YouTube or the 2000s YouTube versus now. I also think the advent of IRL streamers just across the board on all platforms, as well as prankers becoming still a thing. Like, I love my prank channels. There's quite a few I know and follow.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many prank families channels I've seen that are no longer together, like Prank versus Prank, and there's another family who just announced their divorce. It's like we get let into people's lives so much, and some people are so personal with it, with their family vlog channel, or the family that had, like, Ryan's Toys, or there's the one family that was like all vlogging and now they're not. Like, there's a risk we take when we let people into our family, our homes.
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
if we have kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Or especially if we get married afterwards.
Yeah.
And I think the change I've seen most over the last 20 years was people tended to go one of, like, I'd say 2 or 3 ways. You had the people who would chase the algorithm, they'd chase the meta, they'd chase the viral, right? They were always going after the newest, hottest thing.
Yeah.
That's never changed.
Yeah.
Always been around.
Yeah.
You'd have the people who maybe they get in too deep, they reveal They reveal too much, they get too invested, and maybe something personal happens and they have to disappear. Not because they did anything illegal, but, like, they're too vulnerable, or they realize that this isn't what they want to do. And then a lot of people are left kind of going, what the hell, man? Like, we've seen that with some big names, and some of them have come back. Like Jenna Marbles left YouTube. Husky Starcraft left YouTube and infamously deleted his entire channel to support his wife, who everyone probably knows for Nerdy Nummies. Pansino. Rosanna Pansino. I can never say her name correctly. I apologize. I'm so sorry. I love Nerdy Nummies. He became kind of like background AP type support, helping her with her channel, because she blew the fuck up. And then he came back, kind of went in front of the camera, explained why he left, why he did what he did. And while there are people who agreed or disagreed with him, he made the choice he felt he needed to for him and his family's well-being, right? And future. And we've seen so many families have messy divorces or messy separations, or so many families start on YouTube. And I think as it's developed, people have kind of learned to identify how open they want to be, because it's been a messy road for a lot of people to learn that balance, like a lot of things in life. Prank channels kind of dwindled a little bit. Reaction channels blew up, and then they kind of, I don't want to say faded, but, like, shrunk a bit. Sketch comedy was huge in the 2000s, kind of shrunk in the 2010s, and Smosh has kind of been leading a resurgence.
Yeah, a little bit here and there.
There's a lot. The tech YouTube was huge back in the early 2010s. The tech side of YouTube, like the Linux people and the tech support people, Tech TV back in G4 and Tech TV days, were huge. And then they kind of shrunk. And while there are still people doing tech support there, you got Linus and you got Gamer Nexus, I think, like a lot of elements of the internet at large, I think YouTube is a perfect microcosm of the internet.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is 20 years ago, 2005,
Mm-hmm.
if I went into a comment section, or if I was on Warcraft 3's online games, and I made a reference to a webcomic, especially even a half-famous one, I guarantee you at least 70% of the people there would know the reference. If I made a Mega Tokyo joke, if I made an Errant Story joke, if I made an El Gunish Shive joke, you know, these are all names that are they're DMFA. There's so many old webcomics that are still kicking. Dominic Deegan has finished, but the author is still around. These were a lot more ubiquitous everywhere.
Yeah.
But as the internet has gotten bigger, the section of the internet that everyone knows is not as much of an overlap. And
right.
That's good and bad, right? There's pros and cons to that.
Right.
And I think YouTube is a perfect showcasing of that. There's a woman I used to watch, Michelle Phan, who did makeup for a long time. I think she still does on YouTube.
Right.
I randomly stumbled onto her because she did some nerd topic stuff and kind of kept watching her. But nowadays, there's no remnant of that I can remember. Like she is the fashion and makeup section, right? Like I don't go over there. That's not my algorithm. That's not my interest.
Yeah, for sure.
But the YouTube sphere was a lot smaller and more kind of like intimately known. And I think in the same vein, I think a lot of people who look at YouTube and use it, it's good to remember that YouTube represents the internet in a lot of ways, in the sense that like there are parts that have been sterilized. There are parts that are still, not safe for work if you know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more overlap in some ways, but also a lot less. The internet is a really interesting experiment by the human race, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube has changed so much, and yet it's changed so little, if that makes sense. It's hard for me to quantify more than I already have, because I could go on, obviously.
Okay, I think I get where you're coming from. It's definitely changed, right? Like, obviously, we talk about YouTube, right? The first thing that has changed is the visual outlook, right? Like it still shares like the common colors, and some of the previous interfaces. And to be honest, there are some like nice net positive changes as well, with like how you can upload videos and such, right?
Absolutely.
But we also talk about like the negatives of like it actually going backwards to be worse than it was before. You probably heard about this, but there was like a really bad there was a pretty bad like NSFW content epidemic back early YouTube, right, where people were just where people were like back like I think early 2010s, the 2010s ish, where like people would just upload those full length videos with everything there, and YouTube would not catch on to it for like weeks, and it would take a really long time for all those channels to get finally axed, which to my knowledge at least
oh sorry, good.
Oh yeah, thanks. So yeah, like they'll just get axed or like destroyed, or any synonym of the word decimated. However, a much more malicious evil has spawned in its place, that being the you probably know about this too, the YouTube kids channels that are not meant for kids. And it's like AI generated slop. Yeah, so like Elsagate.
AI generated slop, or they put hidden messages. I have friends who have kids, and I've learned a bit about that over the years, and it's a mess.
Yeah. So like in those regards, it's went backwards by like a fuckload. And the whole thing about algorithms too, I completely agree. It's completely fucked over so many people who make good content, who are actually genuinely really interesting, and instead, in its place comes, I hate to mention the word so many times, but it's the only word that fits, slop. People just going, oh wow, this person is a POS, and here is why. And then that gets the bag over something that is interesting and thoughtful, and like very insightful, right? Like take any amount of like, I guess, special documentaries about certain games, or I love those videos, by the way. And I just want to quickly mention this YouTube channel because I don't think people talk about him enough, even though they should. Marsh on YouTube, he covers super obscure JRPGs, super ultra obscure.
Familiar.
Yeah, you can probably look him up real quick if you want. Marsh. He makes such good videos. Those are like 4 or 5 hour bangers where he just completely deep dives into one specific game. And those videos can take a few months to come out, but oh my god, they are so good to watch. I love it. It's great. That is the type of stuff that YouTube should be pushing out there, because that is unique. That is that is the type of shit that YouTube was made for. Not for like, oh, you know, you should not support this person and here's why. I'm not saying that's bad, right? I think if I did, I'd like to amend that previous like statement and just re-clarify that, you know, I understand calling attention and calling awareness to people who, and bad actors, right, who have ill intentions. That's definitely valid. But when people start actively looking and digging, right, saying, "Oh, you did this like many, many, many years ago. You said this one thing many, many years ago. This is why people should avoid you," and then they just bring it up out of nowhere for absolute
God, yeah, no.
yeah, just to get like that, just to get like their just to get their rent paid, right, so to speak. Uh, yeah, and then they get rewarded for that, and then the YouTube algo rewards them for that too because of the amount of engagement that it receives.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I completely agree with you. I've been online a long time. My Twitter account's like from 2008, right?
Yeah.
I've occasionally gone through my tweets, like not piece by piece, but just searching my name and certain catchphrases when I can.
Yeah.
Because when I was younger, there were some words I used that
Yeah.
I do not use now. And I do not make a habit of deleting my past stuff because I want to be able to have it there to say, yes, this was me. I have grown.
Yeah.
But there are some words that like, no, that does not need to be here anymore. And there's always that small part of I think every content creator's brain, especially if they use like an old personal account or an old account, or if they've been around long enough as a creator. Oh no, what if this gets turned against me? Oh no, what if this is something that cancels me? And it's just, people need to be allowed to grow, to mature, to develop. Millennials grew up both online and on the grass, and Gen Z and beyond have grown up online, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's not to say those generations can't do stuff outside, but they grew up on the iPad. They grew up on YouTube already.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up before the internet was as common.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, one of my best friends went on a date with a girl. And I remember what she's told him that me and him both laughed at, because we were stereotypical nerds and geeks. And she was like, "Oh my God, I'm such a nerd." And he was like, "Oh yeah, what are you into? What is that?" She's like, "Yeah, I spent like 6 hours on the internet yesterday. Oh my God." And I was like, bro, I still come back to it almost 10, 15 years later. I'm like, imagine today.
Yeah.
If somebody said, "I spent 6 hours online, oh my God, I'm a nerd." Everyone would look at them like they're goofy. Everyone spends that much time online now.
Yeah.
But 15, 20 years ago, that was expensive for a lot because it cost bandwidth.
Oh yeah.
But it was unheard of because not as many people were online PC gamers. Not as many people could do console gaming back then.
Yeah, because it was like super
online.
expensive.
So
yeah.
It was either expensive or it just didn't exist, or it would cost extra money in addition to your internet bill. And it's one of those things that like I look back on every so often. I'm just like, wow, that's how quickly and yet how short it takes for things to change. Is 15 years ago, you were a nerd if you spent 6 hours online. 15 years before that, you were a nerd if you played D&D or played video games. When I was coming through high school, so many kids talked about COD and Gears of War, and these were things that were cool. But other games were still uncool. And nowadays, gaming in general is rarely seen as an uncool thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, like everyone's getting in on it. Hollywood actors just casually declaring it, right? You know, you also have like random celebrities going, "Oh, did you know that this anime is my favorite anime of all time?" I'm like, okay.
And yeah, there's definitely a sentiment there of like, there's some people, like I've seen plenty of big content creators who say that they were this or that growing up, and I don't know their life. I don't know them. I'm not going to speak for them.
Yeah, for sure.
But I know my experience. I know me and my friends' experiences. And for most of us, none of the popular kids liked or even said that they liked the thing, or they actively would like bully us for it. And so there's this weird dichotomy that's going on right now, I think, in content creation, where there's a lot of people who are like the cliche popular pretty people, and maybe people that aren't. And a lot of these people who would be seen as like stereotypically pretty are like saying that they've always been this, or they've always been that, or, oh, if you weren't liked when you liked video games in the 2000s or the 2010s, it wasn't because you were a nerd, it was because you were a terrible person, you had a bad personality. It's like, no, gaming and anime was ridiculed in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Maybe not in your area, but like nationally in the US at least, it was. Like,
yeah,
Dragon Ball for example, being such a ubiquitous, huge part of Latin America, was not as common in the US, with the exception of, and this is something I did not know until I got older and was exposed to it, the African American community. Huge into Dragon Ball, and Yu Yu Hakusho especially. Like, huge.
That's interesting. Huh.
And it's not something people would know unless they are part of those communities. I'm a white dude from Ohio. I didn't know that. So, like, when I got older and I started having friends who were from those cultural backgrounds, and I learned, oh shit, they like what I like too. Oh, they really like, holy shit, they like it more than I do. Let's go. Like, that's one of the best parts of a cultural exchange, is when, hey, this person whose family is not the same, ethnicity as me, likes this thing made by yet another ethnicity. Here's a bonding element. And, oh, hey, these people have this amazing food. My family doesn't make it. I love this food, right?
Yeah.
And there's this sentiment in recent years of nerd topics were always cool. Geek things were always hip. They were cool. They were accepted.
Yeah.
And to me, it feels like a bit of history rewriting, because Big Bang Theory was literally made to make fun of nerds in a way that made ha ha hee hee ho ho to the average person. And it just so happened to culminate and follow the advent of nerd topics kind of becoming huge. The MCU blowing up, right? WoW exploding.
Yep.
Xbox 360 and Xbox One exploding in sale. Like, then we start having a little slowdown, and then COVID hit. Boom. Everyone's playing Switch. Holy shit, Elijah Wood is going to people's islands and giving them fruit? Wait, what the fuck? Idris Elba's playing that? Like, it was huge during COVID. And so, like, I think it's important to remember that culture changes over time. And you see that in how the internet spheres were used to be so overlapped, and they started splitting apart a little bit. You see that in the social acceptance of, or sometimes lack of acceptance over time, of certain hobbies or interests. And I think I'm trying to remember where I was going with this, is that
Take your time.
I got lost in the sauce. There's a certain level of familiarity people have that they can get defensive. I think Henry Cavill put it really well when he defended fans after the Witcher stuff. He said it's a fan's right to be offended like that. Like, they shouldn't treat someone like shit, but it is a fan's right because they invested that energy, that love, that care into that thing. They want to see it treated right. I don't think that's wrong. And because I remember he did that statement after people were trying to, like, slam everyone who critiqued the Witcher castings and the Witcher season writing. He was like, no, it's a fan's right to say if they like or don't like something. That was their hobby, that was their passion. Don't belittle them for it, but, like, they should be respectful. And I genuinely think in this day and age, Henry Cavill is one of the preeminent examples of someone who I genuinely believe, him and, like, Vin Diesel and even to a lesser extent John Cena, just from the way they've talked about it, the way they've composed themselves, and a couple of creators, Markiplier and
my goat,
Saikuno, and I would argue even maybe Ludwig, even people who, like, you can tell by how they talk and what they talk about that it doesn't feel like a farce coming from them, which is not me trying to say that any creator is, or celebrity is, creating a farce, but, like, there's a certain level of, like, familiarity that people kind of just tend to give off when they lived an experience, and people can usually pick up on it.
Especially,
and maybe that just means other people, and maybe that just means that other people who don't give off that vibe, that doesn't mean they're lying. Maybe they don't give off that vibe. Maybe they hit it better than most, right? Maybe they weren't as invested as maybe some of the quote unquote nerds, but, like, it's interesting to me how culture shifted over that, because I think you can see it in, do you play a lot of multiplayer games?
Oh, I am in hell. I play a lot of Dead by Daylight. Like, it is my most played game. I was gonna mention it earlier. I was like, what are the fucking chances you also play Dead by Daylight? Like, so many people on this podcasts that I've done recordings for so far, at least they've mentioned DVD like as one of their top 3. I'm like,
I've played it since beta, so.
oh my god, I cannot imagine the torture that you went through with the infinite windows.
It used to be 2 windows and 1 door.
Oh,
so
yeah.
fun fact.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Killer's
no,
vaulted
oh, yes.
33% slower.
Oh yeah.
But the reason I bring it up as a little segue is because a lot of people say gaming online is toxic now, right? Like everything's toxic, everything's nasty, and a lot of people say the internet's nasty and toxic. You know, 4chan was the scum of hive and villainy on the internet, and so is something awful. And I think in a kind of close it all loop kind of way, gaming, internet culture, pop culture, when something becomes popular, it's not that it becomes more toxic, it is that the amount of raw number of people who are of that negative type increases. So let's give an example. Let's say 50,000 people play DBD.
Yeah.
10% of them are toxic.
Yeah.
That's 5,000.
Yeah.
What if it's 500,000? Suddenly that's 50,000 people who are toxic. What if it's 5 million? Suddenly that's 500,000 people that are toxic. Now separate them by the regions. Are some regions more toxic or less toxic than others? When something becomes popular, the internet, for example, the amount of people who are going to be really good at a game or really shit at a game, who are going to be really toxic or really nice, I don't think the percentage changes that much, but the raw numbers do. 10% of 100 is 1. Sorry, 10. My math is terrible.
I was about to say
10% of 100. I had to do. I was thinking of a different number. Sorry.
You're good.
10% of 100 is 10. Duh.
Yeah.
Man, that's gonna live forever in infamy. Holy shit. 10% of 1,000 is 100. 10% of 1,000,000 is 100,000. How likely are you to meet it if you're one of those 100 and there's 10? How likely are you to meet them if you're part of that one? And while in theory the number stays the same, it's a 10% chance, in reality, I don't think it is that clear cut. I'm not a statistical analysis expert, so I can't go into the numbers for it. But in my experience being around a while, when something becomes popular, a lot more people like it. Which means there's going to be more good people, more great people, and more shitty people.
Yeah, I mean, with an increase of anything, like with popularity of anything, there'll always be there will be more extremes. You know, we talk about like statistics, right? We always talk about like the outliers and whatnot. Yeah, outliers will always exist, no matter what form, what media that you like, what you don't like. There'll always be outliers. But that's the thing. That's why they're called outliers, because they are a very raw minority of individuals who exhibit or present like a very set state of certain thoughts or feelings that are not common or at least remotely adjacent to what the current fandom feels about it. I'll give you a super good example. What do you call it? Undertale before it blew up, I think, is a pretty good example. Like, I think infamously, we both know this, right? Many people, Mark included, he did not finish Undertale because people were backseating the fucking shit out of him.
Yeah.
Right? And that game, I remember that. Yeah, and that game is inspired so many things. They're still making so many headwaves today with like the number of fan games that's coming out. And Deltarune is also great. It's great.
And I'd like to point out,
yes,
as a side note regarding the early conversation, I'm not a big Undertale fan, but I think it is one of the preeminently best examples. And I remember hearing this explanation from somebody else who I cannot remember, but I agree.
Okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Undertale is not coded very well. It has so many if, then, and type statements in it, but it doesn't need to be coded well. He did it himself, and it was telling a story, which is my roundabout way of saying, don't let something creative not happen from you because you're worried it won't be perfect. Because he could not code Undertale very well at all. If a quote-unquote professional coder were to look at his hobbyist like code, they'd scream. They have on a couple of reaction videos. Yeah. And yet, the man made how much money? The man's done what with that money? Like, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, don't let your dreams just be dreams. Just do it.
Do it!
But yeah, just to like, in terms, yeah, but like what I said about the thing about minorities and whatnot, it's bound to happen. And I mean, again, you know what they say, right? The minorities are always the ones that are the loudest. It just never, people
Yeah.
think it represents such a big voice of the fan base, but in reality, it's just a bunch of people like genuinely gaslighting themselves into believing that shit just because they see a bunch of stats on Twitter that suggest that, oh my god, a lot of people agree with this. And then you check half the people that respond, they're like, I have no idea what this game is about. I just like the fact that someone's getting worked up about it, you know? But no one, very rarely do people actually click the comments, right? Oh, fuck context. Who needs context? We got community notes. You can always trust community notes, right? What's the point of, outsourcing and doing proper research? That sucks. Boo. But yeah, to end it off, because I do not want to make myself edit too much later, as I've like
That's
previously
fair.
established many different times. Yeah, the longest episode I've had is about 3.5 hours. There's a reason why it's not up.
I,
Yeah. So
I, yeah, if you want to leave it off, yeah, that's.
yeah.
There's one thing I was going to say that I
Oh,
think is a good quote,
sure,
if you
go
don't
for
mind.
it. No, go for it. Go for it.
So
Go for it.
I've been around a while, as I've established, because I'm an old. Um,
Yep.
I used to be a part of a couple different like online radio station communities
Mhm.
for Guild Wars 1 and for World of Warcraft.
Mhm.
One of them was called WoW Radio.
Mhm.
If any of you have ever watched or played StarCraft or used to watch YouTube reviews, there's a little known creator who I used to know, who you might be familiar with. He used to go by the name Total Biscuit. He then became known as the Cynical Brit. He became famous for a show called WTF Is. It was just kind of like a first impression show of stuff.
Oh.
But I remember when I was a kid,
Mhm.
right? I spent a lot of time in the Ventrilo server for WoW
Mhm.
Radio.
Mhm.
And I remember talking to him once, and he told me I'm going to paraphrase it because it's been 20 years, but he told me this brilliant quote to an extent of like, because he went to broadcasting. I don't know if he graduated, but he did actually go to a broadcasting school to be educated in broadcasting.
Oh, cool.
And you mentioned the whole slop thing, and
Yeah.
we've both kind of touched on the fact that there's a lot of people who do like IRL stuff or just nonstop yap type content.
Yeah.
And I talk a lot, but I try to give moments to breathe when I can, because I think partially because of my childhood, I was forced to do 2 years of speech therapy, which is why I stutter sometimes,
Mhm.
because I used to speak really fast. So that's fun.
Mhm.
But he also left me with a fun little lesson, which was there's a difference between talking and filling the air. You don't want dead air. You don't want silence, right?
Right.
But there's a difference between dead air and a pause. And I'm paraphrasing here, but it was basically the sentiment of like, if you're going to talk with purpose.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
just ramble.
Don't just yap.
And
Don't just yap for the sake of yapping.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you're going to be quiet, then don't let it be dead air. Have somebody else be talking, or maybe have some small, slight background music. And I think those were some of the biggest lessons I took away when I actually started my content creation journey myself as a youngin,
Mm-hmm.
because I looked up to him immensely. And it's something I always regret never being able to tell him after I kind of drifted apart. I mean, we weren't like friends. I was an acquaintance at best. I don't want to misconstrue anything. He was in his 20s and I was like a 14-year-old. But he was someone I knew online and I had talked to and I had hung out with. I used to play Dota with him and a whole bunch of the other people from that crew.
Right.
But I never got the chance to send him an email or a DM to be like, hey, thank you, right? For everything you taught, everything you did. You said you were an idol of mine.
Right.
And I wish more creators could hear that advice, because I know of so many past and current creators, some who are brilliant and some who are so close, who, if they learned that lesson, I think could go very far, is that there's a time to talk, there's a time to stop, there's a time to let silence speak, and there's a time to make sure it's not dead air. There's a balancing act. Right. And I think it's something a lot of creators have lost because they grew up on the algorithm. They grew up on the hyper fast, like
hyper engagement, like always
way of doing things. Like, I'm not knocking on Markiplier and all them for doing it that way because it got views and it was high energy. Whoa, hey, come on, welcome back.
Yeah.
But it's a different style, and I think there's merit in the other style that I think a lot of people don't pursue as much nowadays.
Of course, I mean, for sure. I mean, that's why it's called art. You know, art is not. It's not. Is completely subjective. You know,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just like beauty, it's in the eye of the beholder. And yeah. I mean, that's great. That's a great thing to leave off of. So, is there anything else you want to tell the lovely viewers at home?
Do more good than you're given. It's a shitty quote of mine, but I always like to say it. Always try to give more good than you get. Like, just, I'm not perfect. I get mad. I get angry. I have hurt people. We all do. But, like, always strive to do more good than you get because it just makes the world a better place. Like, just, or to quote Philip DeFranco, don't be stupid.
So
be a
true.
decent person.
So true and so real. And with that, we wrap up this episode of Start Talking. I was your host. Well, I am still, and I will be in the future. Still your host, Berwick, and this was Eon. And yeah, we'll see you around. Stay safe. Stay kind. You know, world's a terrible place. You can make it at least a little bit less worse, right? And stay hydrated. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.